Take a breath. Relax. I've been teaching meditation for a very long time. And one of the things that has happened to me, there's only been really 2 times in all of these years that I've actually planned to talk. I've always relied upon my higher self. And that's because I was awakened by my teacher. I had spent all of my life trying to open that doorway and keep it open. Throughout my life, starting when I was 5 years old, I started having samadhi experiences, oneness experiences, all of these amazing awakenings. And then they would just go away. I couldn't replicate them. It was like I was half asleep, half awake. I would wake up to some amazing realization, and then I'd fall back into the Maya and forget all about it. Well, I wouldn't forget all about it. I just couldn't make it happen again. And I tried very hard to make it happen again. As a child of the 60s, I tried hallucinogenic drugs. I tried all kinds of things to make it happen. But when I met my teacher, the door opened. And my awakening was full blown. I mean, he opened the door and I entered into a room that I had been wanting to enter into ever since I was 5. Now, the spiritual path is different for all of us. Your path is unique to you. There's no one like you, no one at all. You're one of a kind. Nobody has your DNA. Nobody has your past lives. Nobody has the spiritual development you've accrued throughout your incarnations. Your path has been circuitous, I'm mispronouncing the word, but it's a meandering path. It's not a straight line. But sometimes when you find a teacher, the path straightens out for a while. Spiritual advancement is a personal thing. It's a huge mistake to compare yourselves to others. It's not easy. Not easy at all. You can never compare to others. I look at other teachers, advanced teachers, and I'm really impressed by them. There's all kinds of really wonderful teachers out there. There's Moji and Agnikala, Samvara. There are teachers that have left the body that you can still tune into, such as Sai Baba or Vaishnish. Enlightenment is really everywhere, but it's being expressed individually and uniquely through everyone who touches enlightenment. So you can ask yourself, what have I done in this incarnation to advance myself and to spread the Dharma? I think that's a good question to ask. Are you advancing? Or are you just stuck? And if you're stuck, you need to make it a priority to get in touch with your higher self, the God nature that's within you. And it's unique to you how you do it. As a teacher, I always give my students things that work for me, but it might not work for them. There really isn't a lot that you can compare your own spiritual growth to others. You can find yourself in a sangha or in a lineage, and you're aligned with people who are kind of on the same path, but even they are different from you. Everyone is different. There's no one like you. No one has your path. And yet somehow in this whole incarnation thing, you got lost, didn't you? You forgot. And now you're trying to remember. You're trying to wake up. The waking experience is also different for everybody. I know a lot of people think enlightenment is like something they've seen in a movie or maybe read in a book. And there's certainly a lot of people out there telling you about their enlightenment. That's what we do when you become enlightened or awakened even. You try to tell it to other people because it's so amazing. And yet, most of the time, people don't get it at all. But this evening, we're going to see if we can break through that glass ceiling for you. This evening, we're going to see what we can do to spiritually awaken you more than you've done before. All it requires is that you open your heart, not to me, but to your higher self. To realize that there is a God nature inside of you that knows everything, that is perfect and complete. And you can touch it this evening. The first step is to stop your thought. Now, this can be difficult when you're on your own, no doubt. If you meditate on your own, you probably find yourself sitting in your little meditation chair in front of your little meditation table, saying your mantra or looking at a candle flame or something like that, trying to just focus your mind on one thing so that your thoughts quiet down. And sometimes they do for a little bit, and then they start churning up again. All of these thoughts, all of these emotional ideas, things from the past. So what you do is you come to a teacher, such as myself, but there are many others. You come to the teacher and you watch them meditate. And when I say watch them, you're looking at their physical form, but you do it with soft eyes. You allow yourself to shift with the teacher. To allow your thoughts to stop. And when extraordinary visions or whatever comes up, you just witness it without analyzing or projecting into the future. Oh boy, I can't hardly wait to tell somebody what I just saw. Those type of thoughts. You just have to let them go. And as we stop our thought, as you open your heart, focus on me, focus on your higher self, focus on God. Let yourself go. Don't hang on. Surrender. Your ego may become a little frightened. Well, of course it's frightened. It doesn't want to lose itself. But as you let go of your fear and your concern, when I first started meditating, I would have thoughts like, my gosh, I'm going to go so far out there, I'll never come back. And when I realized what was going on, I spent the next 40 years trying to get out there and not come back. It's not a fear that I have. I'm always pulled back into the body, and so will you be. And there's a time when you leave the body. It's called death. But between now and then, you have life. And it's all consuming, this life. And what you focus on, you tend to experience. Most people focus on things that aren't very substantial. In Tibetan Buddhism, they call it the hungry ghost. It's a ghost that has a big mouth and a big stomach, but a very narrow throat. It just can't pass a lot of stuff through it. So it's always hungry. If I buy this new car, I'll be happy. If I get the large television or the man cave or whatever, I'll be happy. If I buy the new designer purse, I'll be happy. And these things do bring a little joy at first, but it doesn't last. Nothing here lasts. Everything is always changing here. And when you leave this body, you will take none of that with you. You had a life before this life. It was a wonderful incarnation. You had parents and friends, and you may have even been a king or a princess. What did you bring into this life? Just you. And your ongoing quest for self-discovery and the awakening process. You came here to awaken from a dream. And it's a tough dream to get awakened from. You're caught in this atmosphere and you can't quite figure out how to get out of it. Every thought in your meditation has to do with something generally that is transitory. And I'm here to offer you something this evening that is beyond the transitory. That's what enlightenment and that's what awakening does. Each one of you is enlightened. If you go deep enough, you just have to awaken to it. It's not nothing you create or even attain to. You just awaken to it. When I was a little boy, Silver City, one day I went to observe a college class at Western New Mexico. And university. I was in the class and it was a math class. And I was in 4th grade, 5th grade maybe. And they were talking about math up there in ways that I could not conceive of. Ten years later, I'm in a class just like that, and I could conceive of it. Did that mean the earlier part of me that didn't understand it was not good? No, it just hadn't awakened yet to the beauty of mathematics. Mathematics is an art form. It's a language. It's a philosophy. I didn't create mathematics. I became aware of it. You don't create enlightenment. You become aware of it. So the striving that we have in our spiritual growth actually is just trying to wake up to that higher spiritual nature that's within us all the time. We're so confused here. We find ourselves in a psychic soup where we pick up on the thoughts and feelings of everyone around us, and we think those are our thoughts, our feelings. They're not. Actually, if you actually stop your thoughts, you'll find out who you really are. Rather than this receptor that's always getting the thoughts and feelings of others, you find that there's a center inside of you that is peaceful, loving, bright. And then I could go on talking about it, but nothing I could say would come close to it. It's awakening. It's awakening up into enlightenment. I dated a very intelligent woman about 40 years ago. She was incredible. She had an amazing mind. I admired her mental capacity. It was just really awesome to be around. And one day, as we were doing the dishes, she said, I was 21 when I had my first thought. And being a science of mind teacher and minister, this was totally mind-blowing to me. How could you go 21 years and not have your first thought? It seemed impossible. And finally, I asked her, I said, what do you mean you had your first thought? And she said, well, I was teaching yoga at this army camp, and I had my first thought. And I said, go on. And she said, well, I realized that every thought and feeling I had up until that moment was just something I was grabbing from somebody else and thinking they were my thoughts. I really didn't have any original thoughts. I was just picking them up from my parents, my friends, and I had my first thought. Now I'm going to ask you, have you had your first thought? Or have you just been grabbing the thoughts and feelings of everyone around you and making them into a reality? You're more than that. You are God in the flesh. You are eternity expressing itself in this little body. Infinitely small and infinitely large. In reality, you are the center of the universe. The universe has no edges, so there can't be an in or an out or an end to it. It doesn't have an edge. It goes on forever. So the only center to the universe is your mind, your consciousness. And in this consciousness, you're creating your reality. And that reality has been formed by previous lifetimes, things that you've worked out, things that you haven't. And you've been incarnated into this life where you get to work on all of the things you haven't worked out before. Bullying, stealing, all of those things you haven't worked out. You get to work them out here. And you have eternity to get yourself clean. So what is the rush? Well, the rush is that the longer you go without enlightenment, the more you suffer. Suffering is the cause of ignorance. Ignorance creates suffering. Ignorance of your true nature. Ignorance of what happens when you misuse this incredible power that we're given, this thing called life. This thing called consciousness. What are you doing with it? Are you focusing on things that are fearful? Are you getting lost up in political chaos? Are you getting stuck in some religious fervor that doesn't allow you to see anyone else's point of view and keeps your view of God in a very restricted way? Can you stop your thought? Can you let go of how you see things? Can you allow yourself to dissolve into the Dharmakaya, the clear light of reality? Can you let go of your mind, your personality? Can you let go of what you think is right and wrong and just be? So as we stop our thoughts together, what thoughts do you have? Right now, at this moment, I'm meditating and I'm feeling you because there's just one. And I know that as you focus more and more on maybe your forehead or your crown or your heart, just stop your thoughts. Vivekananda said that meditation begins when you stop your thought. Most of us think that meditation is trying to stop our thought, and I use that term a lot myself. But in reality, true meditation only takes place when your thoughts are stopped. And as you're meditating on your own, you'll find that your thoughts might stop only for a few seconds. But as you continue to do your meditation, they start to last a little longer of no thought. It's almost as if you're panning for gold. I watched a YouTube of this guy panning for gold in a creek. He had this big pan and he'd scoop up a bunch of dirt and he'd slosh it around and slosh it around. And of course the dirt and the stone would slosh out, but the gold, being the heaviest metal there is, would be at the bottom of the pan. So if they would carefully slosh out the dirt, pretty soon you end up with gold at the end of the bottom of the pan. And that's kind of like meditation. You stop your thought, And you start getting rid of the stuff that's not eternal. So, that being so, let's just stop our thought for a second. Just sit still, sit up straight, don't lay down. And look at me. And I'm going to stop my thought just for a few seconds. Good. You do pretty good. 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 Many of you noticed that your body was itching or twitching or muscles were getting sore. You started to fidget. Others of you started thinking about, wow, I'm meditating. Or maybe the other thought of, nothing's happening. And you're right, nothing is happening. That's meditation. Some people think meditation is just calming and easy. To me, meditation can be very dynamic. When the energies of life start flowing up and down your spine, and your upper chakras start to open, it's hard to not have some thoughts about that. But if you practice no thought, focusing between the thoughts, allowing everything to dissolve or change or not, to make no judgments, but simply stop your thought. The interesting thing happens when you stop your thought is that many times you become aware of different dimensions, different layers of reality. Maybe the room starts to disappear or turn gold. Or maybe even this white fluorescent light that doesn't have any source, it just is everywhere. It's called the Dharma. You will see the Dharma. It may not happen until you die, but you will see it because you're made of it. Your consciousness, your body, everything is made of the divine spark. You are created in the image and likeness of the big creator. You're a mini-me. You're a fractal of the infinite. And what you focus on and where you let your thoughts go and where you let your emotions go, create your reality. So all the teachers are telling you, Buddha and Christ, everyone says, watch your thoughts. Watch what you're focusing on. Are you more interested in finding enlightenment than you are, I don't know, getting a new car? Everything that you know and experience is a thing. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And by that definition, it is not eternal. It is a dream. So when you go into deep meditation, all of this world starts to slip away. And you're going back home. Meditation is a beautiful experience. And it takes a while to kind of get the hang of it. It's like learning how to play an instrument. The music is there, the instrument's there, you just have to learn how to do it. And once you learn how, you make beautiful music. Meditation is becoming aware of your infinite nature. That part of you that is so precious, so beautiful, that has never been corrupted. And as you align with that, you become enlightened. The darkness starts to fall away. All of the fear and anger and embarrassment and go on and on, all the humiliating and terrifying experiences you've ever had just melt away. You find yourself living in this world, but realizing that you're not part of it. It's just an experience you're having. That you are a spiritual being, experiencing some temporary human body experiences. I don't know if I'm making a whole lot of sense this evening, and I don't even know if this is going to work. But I feel that I need to encourage you to seek the light. You weren't raised to appreciate enlightenment. I understand that. This world doesn't understand enlightenment and is fearful of it. Enlightened teachers are generally treated pretty shabbily here. But I cannot recommend this path enough. What the world wants and tries to get you to behave like is a joke. Enlightenment is amazing. Awakening is amazing. It's difficult to talk about because there's so much misinformation about enlightenment. Everybody is interested in everything but enlightenment. They're interested in fame and fortune, power and control, of being right and making other people wrong. What nonsense. There's only one energy, one divine source that's manifesting all around us all of the time. And various souls who are all from that one source is taking that energetic energy, that creative energy, and pushing it into things that don't matter, things that will not last. But if you take a little bit of time, open yourself up to enlightenment, to seek God in your life, in your heart, in your soul, and to seek to express that higher nature in every action and word that you speak, you'll find that you start living the life of a saint, a blessed life. You do no harm. You're awake in a world of dreamers. So I encourage you to meditate and to stop your thought. Find a teacher that will help you stop your thought. Teachers are doorways. They're not the room. They're simply a doorway. You move through the teacher into a room that's beyond the teacher. And then you become a doorway. And your room gets bigger. We're just here for a short time. All too soon, this will be over. Everything and everyone here will go away at some point. But you will not go away. Their souls will not go away. You're destined for enlightenment. The sooner you do it, the less you suffer. The more you become absorbed in the light, the less the darkness has hold over you. It's good. Namaste.